The 4-1-4-1 formation is the not too distant cousin of the 4-4-2. And while it may not be as popular as other formations such as the 4-3-3, it's only a few simple rotations away from quickly becoming any other lineup. While it's often seen as a rather defensive formation, the 4-1-4-1 is not just a defensive powerhouse, and can quickly get the upper hand on any attack. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the main tactics behind this formation. Welcome back to the channel. If you enjoyed this content, then please leave a like and subscribe for more. The 4-1-4-1 is a direct descendant of the 4-5-1, but this formation started to gain popularity in 1981, thanks to manager Paolo Carpigiani's Flamenco side, which beat Liverpool 3-0 in the Intercontinental Cup. Faced with the issue of playing 4 Fantasistas in Lico, Zico, Adilio and Tita, he decided to play them all behind the striker Nunes, giving the team incredible freedom in midfield to rotate and join the attack. In the modern game, a number of different teams and managers have relied on this formation. Some prime examples include Jose Mourinho's Chelsea, Guardiola's Bayern Munich, Luciano Spalletti's Roma, and more recently Marcelo Bielsa's Leeds. Now, to better understand the main dynamics of this formation, let's take a look at the main roles and responsibilities of each player. Like all modern goalkeepers, he will need to have great distribution and the ability to play with his feet. The 4-1-4-1 caters nicely to teams that like to build from the back, but always has the option of long balls into the lone striker who has support around him. A great example is Manuel Neuer during his time under Pep Guardiola. Neuer allows his team to keep a high line and acts as a sweeper keeper ready to close down any space made by the strikers and help his team maintain control of the pitch. The two centre-backs will need to be comfortable under pressure, with the ability to play key passes forward and break pressing lines. The ideal combo would have one player capable of carrying the ball forward while the other has a more versatile passing range, playing longer balls from deep but also providing more defensive cover. The centre-back partnership of Terry and Carvalho under Jose Mourinho set the record for conceding only 15 goals in the 2004-05 season, a record that will likely stand for years to come. The fullbacks are where the tactics of a manager could see their influence on the game increased or decreased. Defensively, they will be tasked with covering the opposition's wingers, and on the attack will be required to push up and add width, create overloads out wide and deliver balls into the box. Ideally, they will play on the side with their main foot, ensuring they can hug the touchline and stretch the pitch as much as possible. Some more modern systems, similar to what we see with Guardiola, like to have their fullbacks move inside more frequently, adding midfield support and creating more varied passing angles. Pep's current fullbacks in Cancelo and Walker have taken this position to a new level in terms of dynamism, adding central support or pushing up to support the attack. The holding mid is one of the most crucial positions in this formation. His main positioning will be drifting from side to side to help the team move the ball out of tight spaces. He will need to be great at progressing the ball, but will also need to have strong physical presence to stop any runs behind the midfield line. Compared to similar lineups such as the 4-3-3, the holding mid in the 4-1-4-1 does usually have a slightly more defensive mentality, given that this formation allows the team to build through many different channels. Philipp Lahm executed this position to perfection, stopping any runs in behind the midfield and starting the team's counterattacks, while also being the focal point during build-up. The centre mids are where the team requires the most creativity and understanding with teammates. They are required to join the attack and drop deep to help with build-up consistently throughout the match, but will also need to rotate with the winger, or help create overloads out wide. They will usually cover the most amount of the pitch, and are usually the most technically gifted players within the team. The wingers are usually the quickest players in this lineup. The ideal combination would have inverted wingers on both flanks, meaning they are more prone to moving inside and freeing up the flanks for the fullbacks. But regular wingers which stretch the back line as much as possible can also be extremely beneficial, as they can free up more space for the centre mids to attack. They will need to be excellent dribblers and excel in 1v1 situations, with the ability of delivering balls into the box and making runs onto the back post. The OG 4-1-4-1 was played with Lico, Zico, Adilio and Tita, creating chaos by constantly changing their positions, making runs in behind or cutting inside before taking a shot. Finally, the lone striker is make or break for the 4-1-4-1. As the furthest point up the pitch, he will need to have excellent hold-up play, with the ability of laying the ball off for the centre mids or picking out the wingers either side of them. The ideal striker in this lineup is often a false 9, vacating the space in front of the back line and creating space for players to attack ahead of him. The most iconic striker in this lineup was Francesco Totti under Luciano Spalletti. His excellent hold-up play freed up space for the wingers to run into, or for the centre mid to overlap, while also making runs into the box to score over 300 career goals and 190 assists. Overall, it's an extremely versatile formation. It has great cover both moving up the pitch and from side to side, meaning there are always passing options available. It can quickly create overloads out wide, or stretch the pitch as much as possible, and it can quickly morph into any other lineup. When defending, it can shift into a 4-5-1 or 5-4-1, while when attacking there are many different approaches. It could shift into a 3-4-3 with the holding mid dropping between the centre backs and the fullbacks pushing up, or a 4-3-3 with the wingers staying high and wide. The quick rotations and ability to outnumber the opposition means the 4-1-4-1 can be extremely difficult to stop if well executed. So let's take a look at some of the main in-possession principles of this formation. For starters, it's a formation that works well with build-up play, as players can drop deep to outnumber a high press and create passing lanes. Having one striker means it's not ideal for immediate long balls from the goalkeeper, as the whole midfield would have to push up to add support, meaning if the team does lose the ball, it can create a gap between defence and midfield that the opposition can exploit. However, if used in the right moment, such as to bypass a heavy press, it can be extremely deadly and create a quick counter-attack situation. When building from the back, it's important to consider what formation the opposition is playing in. For example, if playing against a 4-3-3, it's difficult for the 4-1-4-1 to outnumber the centre, given the 3-player midfield, with the striker shadow marking your holding mid. However, it can quickly get the upper hand on the flanks, given the fullback-winger combo. To exploit this, the wingers would start high and wide to pin the opposition's fullbacks and prevent them from adding to the press. This means that the fullback usually has space to receive the ball. However, the team needs to be patient in moving the ball to them. This is because if the team passes it directly to the fullback, the opposition can easily read this and close off a back pass and forward option, meaning the team is trapped on the flank. Ideally, they need to move the ball to him indirectly through the centre. This is because by moving the ball centrally first, it forces the opposition to move closer to the centre, giving the fullback more space and giving him time to push up past the winger to receive. To do this, the holding mid will usually be shadow marked by the striker, and so having one of the centre mids dropping either side of the striker will make this combination possible, while also dragging another midfielder out of position and freeing up even more space. Alternatively, let's say the opposition is playing in a 4-4-2. Against this, it's much harder to gain an advantage on the flanks. However, there's an extra player available in the centre of the pitch. The difficulty against this formation is the initial 2v2 with the centre backs and the two strikers, and so a goalkeeper with the ability to play with his feet is crucial to help the team find space. In this scenario, the fullbacks are not as useful to us during build-up, and so the holding mid will be crucial. By dropping deep, he can help create a 3v2 situation. If he's pressed by the opposition, then this means that one of the centre mids is free, and has space ahead of them to attack the back line. But if the holding mid isn't pressed, then this means they have time to pick out an option further up the pitch and help the team gain ground. One more advanced rotation that is common in managers such as Pep Guardiola is either one of the fullbacks, or in his more recent philosophy, both fullbacks moving centrally to completely outnumber the centre. By doing this, the formation becomes a 2-3-5, with the wingers being the ones dropping deep on the flanks if the centre backs need support in moving the ball forward. Generally speaking, this formation is at its best when there's more support around the holding midfielder, with either a centre mid dropping deep or one of the fullbacks moving inside. But where this formation is even more effective is when entering the opposition's half, with a lot of players ready to join the attack. Further up the pitch, this formation relies on the two centre backs and holding mid for defensive cover, allowing the other 7 players to create space to attack. Having the winger and fullback combo allows the team to have a lot of different options. Firstly, if the wingers stay wide and hug the touchline, it can free up the half space for the centre mids to attack. For this to work, the striker needs to consistently position himself on the side of the pitch with the ball and pin one of the centre backs. For example, if the ball is on the left, then the striker needs to play on the shoulder of the right centre back. This is because if the striker is out of position, the half space can easily be covered by the centre back, and so no advantage is gained for the centre mid. But if the striker is in the correct position, a run into this area could either free up the striker if the centre backs shift to cover, or free up the centre mid to attack behind the back line. Additionally, the fullbacks can also be the players to attack this position in the half space. Or if the winger cuts inside, they can be the ones to overlap on the flank and deliver balls into the box. The combination of winger, fullback, striker and centre mid means this formation can quickly get the upper hand on the wing. And if the opposition attempts to close this space down out wide, the 4-1-4-1 can quickly gain the upper hand on the opposite flank, with the winger and fullback being in a 2v1 against the opposition's fullback. Now, most teams are aware of this run into the half space, which is usually covered by one of the midfielders. But this does free up space in midfield. This space could then be occupied by the striker, who has support from the holding mid and other centre mid to move the ball to the other flank. Additionally, from this position, having the fullback move inside to add central support could very quickly help the team gain control of the centre and help the team dominate possession. When entering the box, the striker is the focal point to finish the attack. If attacking centrally, he can lay the ball off on the edge of the box for the centre mids to take a shot. But if attacking from out wide, he'll need to be consistently present in the box to finish the move. The inverted winger together with a fullback means that the team has the option of delivering both in-swinging and out-swinging crosses to keep the opposition guessing. The 4-1-4-1 is an extremely dynamic offensive formation, which can quickly create gaps in the opposition's backline. However, its biggest strength is certainly its defensive structure, with lots of teams reverting to this shape even when playing with different formations. Let's take a look. This formation is excellent at creating pressing traps to trick the opponent. Having a holding midfielder behind the bank of four means there is more central cover and the team can commit more players to the high press, knowing they will always have cover behind them. The wingers can close off any passes into the fullbacks, and with one centre mid joining the striker with the other shadow marking options in midfield, it means it can be very difficult to break the first line of press. If the opposition plays with three forwards, then one of the centre backs can break the defensive line to close down a player in the centre if needed. Safe knowing the opposition can't easily outnumber the defense. If the opposition is able to bypass the press, then this lineup can quickly revert into a 4-5-1. This shape means there is a lot of central cover, forming a diamond shape in the center which makes it difficult for the opposition to move the ball through the middle, forcing play out wide where the team can force the opposition into a tight spot near the touchline. If the opposition makes run into the half space, then this can be compensated by the holding mid, transforming into a 5-4-1 and having good cover in the box. What's excellent about this formation is having one striker constantly hovering on the back line, which means the team can have an outlet option to quickly create a counter-attack, with the wingers pushing up to join the attack. So as we've seen, it's an extremely viable offensive and defensive formation. But no formation is perfect, and if not executed correctly, can be dismantled by a well-organized team. Let's take a look at some of the weaknesses of the 4-1-4-1. Firstly, the biggest downfall of this formation is often the holding midfielder. It's a formation that relies heavily on them both offensively and defensively, and if the holding mid struggles at either of these phases, it could result in the team conceding more goals and creating less opportunities. A decent holding midfielder allows the team to maintain control of the pitch and consistently put pressure on the back line. Similarly, another big downfall of this formation is the striker. The lone striker needs to have excellent hold-up play and distribution, and if he lacks either of these aspects, then it means the team could easily be trapped in their own half and have few outlet options going forward. For this reason, I would recommend any manager who wants to play this formation to ensure their holding mid and striker are up to the task. And there you have it, these are the main strengths and weaknesses of the 4-1-4-1, a formation that will certainly be present for years to come. And now let me know what you think. What do you make of this formation? And what do you think its main strengths and weaknesses could be? Let me know in the comments down below, along with any suggestions for future videos. As always, if you enjoyed this content, then please let me know by leaving a like and subscribing for more. Thanks for watching.